I help get people in shape for a living. And in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to do so with just 2 workouts a week. Day 1, day 2. Both the workouts are going to be full body workouts. Full body 1, full body 2. And we want to have at least 2 days in between them. We start each workout off with legs because it's always the hardest and everybody hates it. On day 1, we start with a knee dominant exercise. And on day 2, we start with a hip dominant exercise. So a knee dominant exercise is primarily one that targets the quads. So something like a squat with a barbell or a dumbbell, or if you're feeling a little frisky and you want to kill yourself, something like a split squat or a Bulgarian split squat. And a hip dominant movement is primarily one that targets the bunda or the hammies. So something like a hip thrust or a deadlift variation like a sumo or a Romanian deadlift. Now, since we started with a knee dominant movement on day 1, we're going to follow that up with a hip dominant and vice versa for day 2. So in this case, we just swap the 2 sets of exercises. Now for the upper body, we have a push, we have a pull, and we have an accessory. So on day 1, we start with a horizontal push, which is pushing out in front of you, targeting the chest and the triceps primarily, and a vertical pull, which is pulling down into your sternum, which targets your lats and your biceps primarily. So for the horizontal push, we could start with something like a dumbbell bench press. And for the vertical pull, we could start with something like a lat pull down. So on day 2, we flip it. So we go on to a vertical push, which primarily targets the shoulders and the tricep. And we go on to a horizontal pull, which is pulling into your belly button, which primarily targets the mid-back, the traps, and the rhomboids. So for the vertical push, we could do something like a military press with the barbell, or we could do a seated dumbbell press for the shoulders. And for the horizontal pull, we could do something like a chest supported row or a bent over row. Now we go into the fun part, which is the accessories. So for most people, I just tell them focus on a muscle that you really want to grow. So for most dudes, it's probably going to be your arms and your shoulders. So something like on day 1, we could do a lateral raise, focusing on the middle delt. And on day 2, we could do a superset of arms. So something like a hammer curl superset with a dumbbell skull crusher. For the girls out there, you might want to have a bigger bunda. So on day 1, you could go to the cables and do cable kickbacks. And on day 2, we could superset the adductor and abductor machines. You know, the ones where you open your legs and then you close your legs. And finally, to end the workout off, I actually do believe it's very important to train your core and your cardio. Core because it's going to help you in your other big lifts, and cardio because it's actually kind of important. And yeah, that sounds a little hypocritical because I really don't train my core enough or do enough cardio. I just do that at home. And that's it. That's all you need, really. This is honestly how I get most of my clients started off at the gym. You're welcome, and don't forget to save and share this one with your friends.